Studying for the LSAT is already hard enough. It's even harder when you have ADHD. My name is Whitney. I have been studying for the LSAT for the past 2 months. My score has increased 10 points since I started, and I have ADHD. And these are some things that I have noticed that have made a really big difference for me. Now, this sounds obvious, but let's be real, we don't all do this. It is worth it to read and understand the entire passage before you even look at the questions. That includes reading comprehension and logical reasoning. And what I have done that has helped me keep track of the ideas that are being talked about is I will write out bullet points, especially for reading comprehension. I'll write out bullet points and I just summarize everything that's being said. I put it into my own words. And that helps me keep track of what's being talked about. And if I can't write it into my own words, then I don't know what's going on. But when I take the time to do this, I'm able to breeze through the questions. It seems like it's going to take up too much time, but I'm telling you, by the time you look at the answer choices, all the wrong answers, well, maybe not all of them, but a lot of the wrong answers will look obviously wrong if you just really take the time to fully understand the passage before even looking at the answers or the questions. The second one is use the prep program that is best for you. When I first started studying, I looked up all these videos on like 7 stage versus LSAT Demon versus, I looked up what everybody else did, but some people said 7 stage was amazing and that's what I started with, but I watched the LSAT Demon podcast like every day and I was like, let me finally try out their program and I did and it's so much better for me. 7 Sage is amazing. LSAT Demon is better for me. If you want, I can do a whole nother video going into why I like it better. Comment, let me know if you want that. But use the prep program that is right for you. If it's out of your budget, there are things that can help you. The LSAC fee waiver can get you a discount on different prep programs, but it's an investment. It's going to save you so much money in how much you have to spend for law school by scoring higher and getting a better scholarship. It's worth it to wait until you can do that. And we'll talk more about that in the bottom ones. Number 3 is reserve a study room at the library. Why reserve a study room at the library? Because at least I know for me, I was taking my practice test at the library. And when I had a reservation for the study room and I know I only have this much time to use the room, then I'm going to show up to the library at that time. It's going to help hold me accountable. And so that's my personal hack to make sure, like on the days where I'm like, dragging my feet or getting distracted, if I know if I have that appointment, I'm going to make it there and I'm going to make the most out of my time while I'm there. So whether it's to do a practice test or whether it's just scheduling your study time, reserve a study room at the library. Number 4 is apply for testing accommodations. This is a little bit tricky because I know everybody doesn't have access to healthcare. It could be difficult to get a doctor who is willing to sign off on this for you. And you can't apply until you actually are registered for a test. So, you have to use your best discretion on if you want to study time sections with the accommodations time or with the regular time. But I can tell you, once I started studying with the accommodations time, I found I didn't even actually need that much time to complete the sections, but just knowing that I had more time helped me actually pay attention to what I was reading because my brain wasn't all jumbled, worried. I don't know, maybe that's an anxiety thing. I don't know, but apply for testing accommodations. I had no luck with my healthcare providers that I had seen in the past. I had to call around and find a new provider who was willing to help me with that. So, again, this is an investment. Don't just take the first no. If you know that you actually need them and your healthcare provider is just won't fill out the form for whatever reason, make it do what it do, but it's worth it. Number 5 is take your time. There's no rush to go to law school. Now, I know everybody says that, but me, when I say that, I'm speaking from experience. This is my second time going to law school, okay? I did it the first time. I was in a rush. I didn't even really study for the LSAT. I was like, I'm just going to take the test. Whatever score I get is what I get. Wherever I get into is where I get into. And then I'm going to get this done so I can become an attorney, right? Wrong. So many challenges that came in the way. I ended up having to withdraw. That's why I'm now starting over because I just wasn't in a place. It's unlike any other type of schooling. You can't just, I'm smart enough your way through law school. Like, if you don't have the time to dedicate and you don't have the necessary support system, if you have kids or if you have a family or whatever, like, seriously, it's not. Wait until you can do it. Waiting one more year isn't going to hurt you, but starting and not being able to finish and putting yourself in all of that debt, like I did, because you were in a rush and you rushed through your application, take your time. If you're not ready in time for the application cycle, wait another year. There's not going to be a big difference in waiting another year in your life, but there will be if you go and you're not ready. You don't want that to happen. Or if you're rushing and you are paying way too much for tuition versus if you would have took your time and took the LSAT when you were actually ready so that you could get into the best school with the best scholarship situation. There's no rush. And that takes us into number 6. Be realistic. Don't do it until you have the time to dedicate. And again, this goes back to my experiences. My daughter was 3. She was a toddler, single mom. We were staying in a shelter. I don't know why I thought I had the mental capacity or the space in my life to go to law school, but I've always been able to, do everything else I set my mind out to. And it wasn't until I had a tutor who was like, you don't need a tutor, you need more time. And I had to make the best decision, and it's the best decision that I could have made. I'm going to be going to school under much more favorable circumstances now. I have waited until my life was set up in a way that I have the time and just everything. I can get more into that in my experiences of going to law school and what that actually looked like. If you're interested, comment, let me know. I could do another video on that, like a full dedicated video. But be realistic. Don't go until you have the time to dedicate. This is not something that you can cram for, that you can guess you it's just different. If you don't have the time to dedicate, don't do it yet. And that goes back to the previous point. There's no rush. Take your time. Make sure your life is set up. Save so that you don't have to work your first year if you have to. Save. If you don't have family to support you, because most of us don't. Most of us don't. So be realistic. Do it when you're ready. If that means preparing for a few years, saving, researching, do what you got to do. Hopefully this is helpful. Follow me. I'm going to be posting a lot more. Once I have 1,000 followers, I'm going to be going live while I study. So follow me, comment, let me know if you have any other questions, and welcome.